It's very widely accepted that animals have souls. Hello, you two! Nancy and MacGyver. Dinner time! And it's also widely accepted that plants have souls. But do we accept that inanimate objects also have souls? Life just grows in what we perceive to be the most barren and deadest of places. It's actually really cold. Something like 5 degrees, 4 maybe. And I've just done a half an hour meditation. My fingers are freezing. I'm certainly not ready to Wim Hof it yet. That's for sure. So we accept that animals and plants and the earth has a soul, and the earth actually has a heartbeat, which is monitored by something called the Schumann resonance. If you didn't know, you do now. But it's not widely accepted that inanimate objects, such as rocks and cars, and that's why I filmed my car, and you'll understand as we get further into this video why I filmed my car. But I was motivated to do this video because I've been going to a quarry not far from me. It's a disused quarry, and it's got a real sense of sadness to it. The first time I went, I have to walk quite a big hill to get there. And once you get past the trees, the wooded area, if you like, the actual quarry itself has a real sense of sadness. And it made me think about something called animism. Now, I've only recently, in the last 6 months or so, heard of animism. And simply, animism is everything has a soul. So your rocks, your cars, basically everything has a soul. And it's something that is an ancient philosophy. It's not new. Still practiced in, I think, Brazilian cultures, indigenous Brazilian cultures, and obviously other cultures. But the Western culture actually pushed it to one side when colonization happened. And I was listening to a guy yesterday called, I think he's called Arif Haga. I think that's his surname. And he was talking about how we never seem to ask permission when we enter a forest, or when we go for a swim in a lake or a river or whatever it may be. And he likened it to how would we like it if somebody, a stranger, just entered our home. It's our sacred space. So if we are to accept that everything has a soul, then should we be asking permission? So to give you an example of this, when I was at the quarry, I picked up a rock and I instinctively put it down. It didn't feel right to take it. And part of the magic course is to make a wand. Now, yes, we can buy wands, but it's preferred that it's made. And part of the process of that is actually building a relationship with the tree in question and tying some string around the branch that you want to take. Now, some practitioners don't build a relationship for any length of time. Some will just ask permission. They'll spend some time in the forest permission, and they'll get a sense of which tree it is that they've got permission to take a branch from. And it's something that I unknowingly have been practicing for some time. Now, I brought home a really interesting looking branch from the horse's field some months back. And it was really interesting because the temple that I am with at the moment is called the Temple of the Horned Serpent. And this branch, and I'll pop a photo of it, it actually looks like a horned serpent. So I actually found it really interesting that I found that branch at the time that I did. But I didn't ask permission to take it. But I did say thank you to it, which brings me on to my car. So this car I've had for 17 years. It's a 20-year-old car. And you'll be surprised how many people actually offer to buy it. I had someone who brought me logs for the wood burner just a few days ago ask if it was for sale, because it is a limited edition TT. Now, as I said, I've had the car for 17 years. I don't particularly look after the bodywork, and if you were to look inside the car, it's a bit of a workhorse for me, but the engine, it's done 217,496 miles. It's been to Switzerland and back, and I've had minimal problems with it. Of course, I've had usual wear and tear naturally, but people always comment on how the engine is so quiet for its age. And interestingly, the 17 years that I've had it, I've never had a new clutch. So when I was thinking about doing this video around animism, it got me thinking about the car and how I say thank you to this car after every journey, how I tell the car that I love it. Now, I haven't given it a name. It isn't a he or a she. I know some people do that. But I've just never given up on the car. And I've actually, as bonkers as this sounds, healed the car. So there was one time where the hazard light was blinking erratically for no reason. And I did some ho'opono on it, and my ex-boyfriend can attest to this because he was in the car when it happened, and it didn't fix immediately, but the next day the problem had gone. I basically put my hand over the area and said, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And more recently, I've had a spring that's been displaced and it's been banging around. I actually took it off the road a few months ago because at the time, I didn't know what the problem was and I didn't want to spend the money on getting it repaired. Anyway, went in for its MOT and it's something or nothing. But the banging is quite significant. I was driving to the horses one day and I was like, I know you're unhappy where you are. You'll feel much happier if you go back into the slot where you're supposed to be. And guess what? The next day, there was no banging, and I've not had banging since. And I know it sounds bonkers, but is that because I've considered this car for the duration that I've had it, said thank you, loved it, and used energy to heal it? Because I recognise it's not just a car, it's a soul. Now, how far do we take this with, everything being soul? So you've got monotheism, which is everything is one. And then you've got polytheism, which is what I am, which is everything has a soul. So individual souls rather than just like one, everything just being one. But how far do you take it? Again, I was driving home when I was thinking about doing this video. I was thinking, well, when I go to fill my car up with fuel, does the fuel have a soul? How far do we take it? But simply put, That is animism. And I think when we go into places, we just don't take. We ask permission. And if you get the feeling that the earth doesn't want you to take, then you don't take, because nothing belongs to us. As much as there are some out there that believe that they have the right to do what they want when they want and take what they want when they want. But anyway, I don't need to thrash this video out any longer. I shall speak to you all soon. Bye.